Right now, I don't have dental insurance, and I go to the dentist, and we know how expensive dentists can be. And I have in the past, I'll charge it on my card, but when it comes to paying it, I'll look at when most of my money comes in at certain times of the month that I have my Social Security or my work checks, and what I'll do is I'll still pay it off on time. By the end of when it's due, the deadline on my card, but I'll divide the payments up into 2 payments or something like that.
Well, see, that takes us into budgeting.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you're going to use a credit card, you don't want to make minimum payments.
No.
Because it'll be a drain on your budget. So if you have a big item that's going to come up every once in a while that isn't a daily expense, you've got to go to Dr. Lockjaw, the dentist, or you have to get insurance, but you only do that once every 3 months or once every 6 months. If you can find a way to make sure you can pay that off quickly, even if you charge it, you pay it over 2 or 3 payments, but you make sure in your budget that you pay all your have-to bills every month, the things you really need like rent and utilities and food, and put a little bit extra aside so when that bill comes in you can pay it off faster.
Yeah.
That's going to help you a lot when you're a home buyer, and you're not going to have a lot of big debts when you're a home buyer because you're taking on the biggest debt in the world, which is going to be your mortgage.
No, and that's the biggest thing that I think a lot of people need to know when it comes to home buying. It's not for everyone, and I understand that. And I don't want people to get the idea that I want everybody I know with a disability or people that are low income that they should go out and buy a house.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that those of you that feel that you're ready for the responsibility of making sure that your bills are paid on time and that you can afford the other expenses that go along with owning a home, like maintenance and stuff like that, that if you really feel like it's something you can do, go for it. So
Well, you bring up 2 good points there. One, you have to have a different sort of budget if you're a home buyer. The things that you might be able to spend money on when you're renting, maybe going out to eat more, maybe buying more clothes, maybe paying for more pay-per-view movies, you're going to have to cut back on those because now you're a homeowner. Your mortgage or your which is really your monthly rent in a way, might be a little bit higher. Your utilities might be higher, especially if you're in a bigger place than the apartment you're living in. And you've got the maintenance coming up. And so if you're somebody who thinks they can redo their budget and make sure they can fit in the new cost of home ownership, fine. If not, maybe renting's best for you. There's advantages and disadvantages to both.
I was gonna say, I've rented all my life up to this point, which has been about, let me think, it's been close to 20 years, or maybe even a little less that I've rented up to this point. And let me tell you, there are some nice advantages to renting. Maintenance was taken care of. All I had to do was make a phone call or go knock on the office door, which right now I'm right across the hall from, which is good. So, and then coming in to fix that, I was, for example, last night I was a little bit concerned because I told you that at my current residence, the ownership has changed a little bit, and the management that I had a couple times before, they were always good about coming over quarterly, about every 3 months, to not only do the pest control, but also to change my filter in the furnace.
Probably check the smoke alarm.
Yeah, check the smoke alarms and all that. But I was talking to a friend of mine that works with me last night, and I asked her, could you go in and check my filter in the furnace to make sure that it's okay, because I hadn't had anybody come by for, it seemed like, for a long time. So it was just one of those things that I told her, you know, I'm gonna have to get used to remembering to do that when I'm in my own place, because up till now I didn't have to worry about it. They just did it every 3 months.
And not only that, you're gonna have to pay for the filter now.
Pay for the
So,
filter and
There's
all that
advantages
stuff.
and disadvantages. If you're renting a place where the management changes and they're not good about maintenance, you'd probably rather do it yourself.
Yeah.
And if you pay for it yourself, at least you're going to get it the way you want.
And I have done that. There's been some stuff within the apartment that I've needed fixed. Some things in the bathroom and some other things that instead of waiting on maintenance to come and fix it, I've just gone and got it myself and got it fixed.
So if you're already
So,
doing that, you're ready maybe for home buying.
Yeah.
And now you talk about maintenance. If you're buying a home, the experts, whoever they are for home buying, say that you should make sure that you build up a savings fund or a maintenance fund
Yep.
of about 1% of the cost of your home. So if you were buying a townhouse for $50,000,
Okay.
you should try and have a bank account or a checking account somewhere where you've got $500 set aside for anything that might come up in your house. You buy a house that's $100,000, which means you live on the east side of the state. You
Yeah.
need $1,000 in there in case you have some real plumbing problems or you have a leaky roof or something
Yeah.
like that.
And that's the one thing about where and I know the situation is different wherever people live and wherever the housing is. The one thing that's good about where I'm gonna be, it's gonna be a condo. So Robert mentioned about the roofing and the drainage stuff. I don't have to worry about the outside stuff.
Just the inside.
Just the inside. So that's the thing. But I do want people to know that if you're not in a condo, you're responsible for just about it. You're responsible for everything.
So that brings us to one other point about this. You've already chosen a home.
Yeah.
It's a home you know you can afford. You're working with a good housing provider. They're doing all the inspections for you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about maintenance. They've checked the condition of everything. If anything's wrong, they're getting the owner to fix it or they're helping you fix it. So you know that when you move in there, you're not going to have to pay for a lot of things right up front. It's not like buying a used car that's a lemon and you have to start fixing it right away. You're not going to have a lemon of a house.
I'm not going to be paying out of my pocket to keep it.
So it's great that you're on camera here because anybody out there interested in buying a home should realize that half of their cost is going to be determined by what they do when they're looking for a home. What's going to work for you, number one, and then if you find something you think is going to work for you cost-wise, what's the condition of that home? You want to make sure you get a good inspection, you know what's right or what's wrong, and you want to make sure that the basics, whatever you might have to pay for that would be a high dollar item, whether it's a lot of plumbing or electric or the foundation, if you have to pay for the outside, the roof, the windows, the doors, you want to make sure they're all working well so when you move in, right off the bat, you don't have a lot of costs. And with a good inspection, let's say you were responsible for the roof. If you got a good inspector, they might say, well, this roof is 7 years old. The kind of shingles that are on here should be okay for another 7 years. So now you know that you don't have to worry about saving for a roof right away. You've got 7 years to put a little bit aside every year.